Alright, welcome back to another episode of Jesse Does It. Today we have got my 96 F250 again. We are going to do some amp steps. We have the OBS Solutions bracket kit and the amp steps that go with that. We're going to install them on the truck and help the wife get in and out of the truck a lot easier since there's no grab handle on the passenger side. She's been begging me for steps for a long time. I told her when OBS Solutions comes out with their kit, I will gladly buy it for her. So they did. Here we go. Seems like it's going to take a little bit of time, a little bit of tedious to get everything right, but it shouldn't be too hard, so let's get started. Alright, so OBS Solution gave pretty detailed instructions with pictures, so if you see me looking at my phone, that's what I'm referring to. Step 1 says to take these U brackets and put them on the amp steps using the hardware that came with the amp kit. So it comes with some Allen head bolts with nuts and pretty simple so far, so let's keep going and do all 4 of them. Alright, so the next step is installing the amp motors to the amp brackets. So here we go. Alright. There we go. So it appears there's only one way that this can go in for the holes to line up. Next step is putting 2 wires to the motor and extending the arms about halfway. So I've got my Makita battery, it's 12 volts, and I've got 2 wires hooked up to the motor. Let's see which direction it goes. There we go. Know what halfway is, so let's find out. Alright, so that's fully extended, reverse polarity, and you'll get retract. Let's go a little bit more than that. Okay. I just took 2 spade connectors and plugged it in there on some scrap wire. We'll do it again on this one. So now we've got the OBS Solution rear support arm, and it's going to go on the back side of these brackets. There's already one drilled and tapped hole that this is going to line up with, and then we will bolt that in, and we have to drill a second hole in the bracket and then throw a bolt through that. That 3 more times and then drill our hole. Finally. Isn't this some boring content right here? Ugh. We're having fun though, right? Bolt the 4 Heim joints to each of the small brackets. This is the end of part 1. So we got the small brackets. Heim joints are going to go in the middle. Do that 4 times. Alright, the next step is we're going to mount these brackets. To the pinch well using the existing holes. So let's get started on that. So what I'm thinking is the amp steps are going to mount to this. This bracket moves up and down. We're going to drill holes into the body here to support that even stronger, make this pinch weld even stronger. Now the steps say to install one of the brackets that has the motor in it. It does not say whether to install it on the front or the back. I tried putting it up front, but the motor facing upwards hits the body in the front, so clearly it has to go in the back. So we are going to install that right now. says to install tight enough where it can still pivot. So put the bolts in, I'm still able to pivot. We're gonna do the next side and we'll be right back. All right, so we've got the brackets mounted to the pinch weld. Next step is to mock these up so that we can mark holes, or mark to drill holes for these. Now these are heim joints and they're adjustable, so that way you can raise and lower according to how you need. All right, so we've got all the holes marked to drill. We're going to take the brackets off, drill our holes, and reinstall. All right, so the holes are all drilled. Next step says to install the heim brackets into the holes that we just drilled. So we're going to go ahead and do that now. Now I have a crew cab. It says on this crew cab you have to use these shims in between the bracket and the frame, or body, pin trail, whatever it's called. So we're going to install the spacer, the bracket, and bolt it all up in there together. All right, the heim is installed. We're going to do that 4 more times. So now we've got the heim joint bracket installed. It's time to put the bolts through this bracket that go up through the floor. All right, so we've got all the bolts run through the body. We are going to tighten these because once I install the step brackets, you cannot get to these. So it's time to tighten these now. And then install the step brackets. Do that 4 times and we'll be back. All right, so now it's time to put the steps on the brackets. We're just gonna loosely mount that up and get the angle adjusted properly, and then we can tighten everything up. And we will do the next side. Side note, I did not see this in the directions, but there is 2 brackets. The bracket that drops down goes in the front of the truck. The bracket that goes straight goes in the rear of the truck. And that's because the pinch weld in the frame goes up in the rear and is down in the front. So you need the different arms accordingly. So I'm switching that out now, then we're going back on track. All right. All right, we're back on track. So we are leveling the steps right now. We recommend setting the angle of the running boards at 1 to 3 degrees up. Every truck is different. This will compensate for the slight flex that comes from the linkage assembly. So we're looking for 1 to 3. We're at 2 right now. I'm going to adjust the heims accordingly and tighten it all up, and then it's time for wiring. Let's do a test run, see how it works. Woo! Man, that's smooth. That's awesome. So you can see they are installed on this side. We are level with the body, level with the doors. Everything's looking good, so we're just going to button up the other side and then the wiring. All right, we're back. It's day 2. We yesterday got the amp steps installed, and today we are going to be doing the wiring. So I've kind of brought over the directions a little bit. We're gonna have to run some wires, put in new switches, and wiring is not my strong suit, so we will see how that goes, but I'm gonna follow the directions and do the best I can. So here we go.
Many hours later.
So we've got the wires ran, down behind the back seat. They're plugged into the motors. Now it's time to install door switches. So we take this little rubber grommet right out right here, and we're going to drill that hole out bigger so that we can put a door switch in, and we'll do that right now. So we've got all the door switches hooked up, drilled out and hooked up. We've got 2 wires on each side to run spade connectors to the back side of them. So we're going to take the shortest of the 2 wires and hook it up here, run the longer one up front. We're going to do that right now and then move on to the next step. And just like that, we're done. So I've got all the wiring ran, got everything installed, it's all working properly. I'll go ahead and show you now. I did not film a lot of the electrical part because that's basic plug and play, run wires, tedious bull crap that you don't really need to see. So figure that out on your own, but the directions were really well illustrated and told me exactly what I needed to do. So here we go. Man, I'm stoked. Let's go check out the other side. Overall, the install went pretty smooth. It did take me 2 days. However, I feel like it could have been done in 1 if I had more time. Or if you're a little bit faster than me, then you could probably get it done in 1 day. OBS Solutions put together a great kit. I love the fact that I can take modern technology and put it on my old truck. The wife and kids are going to love the steps. I know I am, even though I didn't want steps. Thanks for tuning in, and we will see you guys on the next adventure.